I hate crime. The guy sitting there in my office was about 5 feet nothing. He had a face like leather, clear eyes, and an untidy mop of gray hair. His name was Whitey Sloan, and he was a well-known fight manager.
I'm in trouble, Kent.
What kind?
You know Freddie Walker?
You're a fighter? Welterweight, southpaw.
Yeah. Left-hander like me.
A good boy.
He was.
Come again?
He's dead.
How?
Murdered.
When?
This morning. It had to be this morning. He wasn't there when I left.
When you left?
His body, I mean.
Maybe you'd better tell me from the beginning, huh?
I left the house about 8. I went to the gym. Freddie was in training.
Yeah?
He was due at 1:30. 10 o'clock, he still wasn't there. I phoned his hotel. He wasn't there. Then I went home and
That's where he was.
Yeah. Dead.
How?
In the ashtray? Back of the head.
Your ashtray?
Yeah.
You had no idea he was going to your place?
No.
Anybody see you leave?
No.
Anybody see him enter?
Well, I don't know about that.
Have you and Freddie had any arguments?
Larry, you don't think that
I'm thinking of what the cops will figure. Well, did you?
No. Freddie and May was always good friends.
This won't look too good for you, Whitey.
I know that. That's why I came to you. Will you help me?
Well, that goes without saying.
Thanks.
We'll have to call the cops in, Whitey.
Yeah.
But not right away. I'll give it till this afternoon. In the meantime, stay put.
I couldn't go back to the house. I'll be at the gym.
Okay. Now, back to Freddie. Any enemies?
Well, not anyone you can point to.
How about women?
There were plenty of them.
Yeah, that's what I figured. He was a good-looking guy.
He wasn't too good at picking them, though.
How come?
Always the wrong one, Larry.
For instance?
Celia? Celia Graham.
Name sounds familiar.
She sings songs at the city club. But the money she gets paid for that is only for knickknacks.
I see what you mean. How long did Freddie know Celia?
6 months?
Mm-hmm.
She was no good for him, Larry. Getting him to break train and things like that.
Yeah, but as far as Celia was concerned, what did Freddie mean?
Diamond necklace, a fur coat.
Was there any guy around who might have resented that?
There are always guys with Celia. There always will be.
I'll have a talk with her. But first, I'd better see the body.
Yeah. My front door key, it's the only one I've got, so don't lose it.
I won't. Now, where do you live?
A place on Randolph Street, near the quay.
I know the place. What's the number?
28. It's a residential. My flat's in the basement.
I told Whitey to go to the gym, then I went to his apartment. Freddie Walker was on the living room floor. One look was all I needed. Next move was a phone book. Graham. Celia, miss. I copied the number and the Elizabeth Bay address. Then I drove out there.
Yes?
Celia wasn't only a singer. She was a very nice nightclub ornament. When she stepped up to a mic, it wouldn't matter if the customers were tone deaf. The male ones, that is. Females just wouldn't like Celia, and the reasons as I stood there were very obvious. I showed my card.
Oh, the American private detective.
Can I come in?
If I said no, you'd put your foot in the door, wouldn't you?
I've done it before.
Then I better let you in.
Thanks.
You may as well come into the living room and be comfortable.
Good idea.
Help yourself to a chair.
Okay.
Oh. Seems we both prefer the sofa.
Well, it's big enough for two.
Just about.
Nicely upholstered, too.
You're crowding me.
Sorry.
Why have you come here, Mr. Kent?
Call me Larry.
I'll call you anything you like. But why have you come?
That's an interesting photograph over there. It's Freddie Walker, the fighter, isn't it?
That's right.
Nice fella, Freddie. Good welterweight, too.
You haven't answered my question.
I'll ask the question, sweetheart.
What is this?
When did you see Freddie last?
I don't see why you
He's dead.
What?
He was murdered.
No.
I watched her. She sat there, face white. Her eyes went to Freddie's photograph, then she dropped her head in her hand. I went over and switched off the radio. Okay, sweetheart, the wailing session is over.
Leave me alone.
After we have a talk.
What do you want to know?
Who didn't like seeing Freddie's photo in this room?
I don't know what you mean.
I'll bet you don't. Just a Girl Scout, that's all you are, huh?
For your information, I was in love with Freddie.
Oh, love, it's wonderful.
We were in love. We were going to be married. Here's the ring he gave me.
It wouldn't be the first time you wore somebody's ring, would it?
With Freddie, it was different.
Sure it was. He got killed. And I'm asking you to help me.
What can I do?
You can give me a list of ex-boyfriends.
They wouldn't have killed him. I tell you, it was different with Freddie. The past was all gone. We were going to leave Australia together.
What?
He was going to fight in England and America.
It's the first I've heard about it.
Well, it's true.
How was he going over?
There was a promoter interested in him. What does it matter now?
It matters to me. Who was the man?
His name is Julius Barton.
Did Freddie make some kind of an agreement with him?
I don't know. We only talked about it last night.
Did Freddie say he wanted to go?
I wanted to go. So he said he would.
Huh. Where can I get in touch with Barton?
I have no idea where he's staying.
I used Celia's phone, got a newspaper report, a friend of mine. Julius Barton was a big-time London fight promoter on a visit. My friend Check got his hotel. That's where I went. He was in.
I understand you're a private detective.
That's right, Mr. Barton.
Sit down. What's on your mind?
I told him Freddie Walker was dead, murdered. I got the expected reaction.
I can't believe it.
I waited, let him pour 2 brandies. Took one, drained it, let him light a cigar. Then I asked him a question.
Yes. I was very interested in Freddie Walker. I thought he'd be a good draw card in England and America.
Did you make him a proposition?
Yes.
What was it?
Well, I said I'd see that he got the right build-up fights and plenty of publicity. But of course I wanted him for myself.
Then you didn't want his manager to come into it, huh?
Oh, no. I was willing to buy his contract.
What did Freddie have to say to that?
He said that he and his manager, Whitey Sloan, were friends. And he didn't like leaving him. So I told him to think it over.
And that's all?
That's all, Mr. Kent.
Thanks.
Don't mention it. Anything I could do to help, let me know.
I said I would, then I left. I saw something now. I saw Freddie Walker talking to Bart and seeing visions of big purses in London and New York. The welterweight championship of the world and everything that went with it. Then I saw him with Celia. I could almost hear him telling her about it. Then I could see her egging him on, telling him he was crazy not to go. I could see him refusing, then arguing with Celia, her shouting, him leaving the joint, and then... Crazy? Maybe. But I wanted to have another talk with Celia. So I drove to Elizabeth Bay. Her place had a closed-in porch with big potted plants on both sides. The guy stepped from behind one of the plants. He stood in front of me, and what happened then was too quick to follow. Ugh. When I came to, I was lying on the porch. The right side of my head and face was numb. I got up. Looked outside. Nobody in sight. I turned around, went to the front door. Open. Celia? Celia? No answer. No wonder. You don't talk when somebody has tied a piece of wire around your throat tight. Too tight. After I found Celia wearing a copper wire choker, I felt her pulse. Got no response. Went to the door. I should have called the cops, and I would, but not yet. More legwork. The head waiter at the club where Celia had warbled. No mention that she was dead, just a question. Which dame in the chorus liked Celia the least? The answer was Elsie.
Come in.
Thanks.
Now, why would a private detective be coming to see me?
This time, to ask some questions.
Personal questions?
That's for next time.
One thing at a time, eh?
Mm-hmm. I find it's easier on the, concentration.
Mind telling me why you're concentrating on me?
Well, forgetting the visual aspect and getting down to business,
Oh.
there are a few things I'd like to know about Celia Graham.
Why should you want to know about her?
My client does.
Who's your client?
Well, I've got to keep his name under my hat.
Is he trying to get something on Celia?
Yeah. I thought you might like to help.
Why should I want to help? I've nothing against Celia.
Maybe not, but you'd be doing me a favor. Don't you like doing fellas favors?
Coax me.
I did. She was that kind of a dame. A snake. Or a fluffy cat. I had to take care of the latter before I got to the former.
She's got pound signs in her eyes. And her voice. Men don't go to hear her sing. But she knows why they come. So does her dressmaker.
Yeah.
Oh, there are lots of things I can tell you about Celia Graham.
That's why I'm here.
Exactly what are you looking for?
A man. A man who didn't like the way she was playing around with Freddie Walker. In other words, a guy who was dumped and resented it.
Well, that'd be John Hartley. He gave her a mink coat.
And she gave him the air.
I was backstage at the club one night when I heard them having an argument.
How did it go?
Well, he had every reason to be furious, and he was.
What did he say?
The usual stuff about not being content to play second fiddle.
And her?
Typically, she told him to go home and peddle his papers.
Then?
He said that if she didn't give up the fight of Freddie Walker,
He'd take back his mink coat.
he'd choke her.
I left Elsie after some appropriate dialogue and so forth. My next step was to the front office of the John Hartley Importing Company Limited.
Yes, sir.
I'd like to see Mr. Hartley.
Why, I'm afraid he's busy at the moment, Mr.
That his office?
Well, yes, but...
Thanks, sweetheart.
Hey, you can't go in there.
Oh, you should have told me sooner.
Who are you? What's the meaning of this?
The name's Larry Kent. I'm a private detective. I want to have a talk with you. Thanks, I will sit down.
What do you want?
Words.
I'm a very busy man, Mr. Kent.
You listen to what I've got to say.
Some other time, perhaps.
Now.
I told you I was busy.
She's dead.
What?
Celia Graham.
Celia?
Murdered. That's why I'm here.
Murdered? No.
Another performance to watch. But no tears this time. Just a lick of the lips, then he slumped back in his chair.
How did it happen?
Strangled. In case you don't really know.
What do you mean?
Got an alibi, Hartley?
Alibi?
Were you in this office all day?
Oh, surely you're not thinking that I
have a witness.
That's a lie. I didn't kill Celia.
My witness heard you having a violent argument with her.
I admit that.
You said something about dropping Freddie Walker, didn't you?
Yes.
And if she didn't, you'd choke her?
I lost my temper. I didn't know what I was saying.
The cops won't be interested in that. When my witness takes the stand, it's even money. They'll say you killed Walker and Celia.
Walker?
His surprise sounded genuine. But not all the good actors in this world are on the stage, not by a long shot. I do a bit of acting myself sometimes, and I decided to do some then.
What did you say?
I said I'm willing to make a bargain with you.
Bargain?
I've got a witness. I can point the finger at you. But I'll whisper in my witness's ear, and I'll put my hand in my pocket for a small consideration.
In other words, you want me to buy your silence.
Uh-huh. And cheap, too. 1,000 quid.
Get out of here, Mr. Kent. Get out of here before I call the police.
I'll phone you back later, Hartley.
That won't do you any good.
Think it over. 1,000 quid.
Get out!
I went to the office. My little game with Hartley was one of the oldest tricks in the handbook. Get your suspect scared, make him think you know more than you really do, and wait. Sometimes it works, sometimes it doesn't, but it's always worth the try. While I was at it, there was another suspect. Julius Barton, the fight promoter. I figured I'd talk to him. Let him know I was still around. Feel him out. Hello? Wadsworth Hotel? I'd like to speak to Mr. Julius Barton, please. What? Are you sure? I see. Thanks. He was gone. Left only an hour ago from Melbourne. He hadn't told me about it that morning. Why the run-out powder? I made another call, the Pioneer Gym. I asked for Whitey Sloan.
Yeah? What is it, Larry?
Do you know a guy named Julius Barton?
Why, yeah. English fight promoter.
Did you know he tried to do business with Freddie Walker?
Business? No. This is the first I heard of it.
Well, he did. There are a lot of things I'd like to find out about Barton, but right now I've got to let the cops in, Whitey.
All right.
I'll meet you at your place. We'll phone from there.
Okay.
My office was located only a few blocks from Whitey's apartment. The Pioneer Gym was on the other side of town. So I had a few minutes to spare. I leaned back, tried to sort things out. Whitey. In trouble because his fighter's corpse was in his living room. Celia. A mercenary dame, but dead. Hartley. A tough businessman who'd warned Celia to stay away from the fighter or else. Barton. A promoter interested in the fighter, and now he'd blown town. No matter how I looked at it, there were pieces missing. I reached into my pocket. Whitey's key. It felt cold. The key made me think of something. I put my hand against the right side of my head where it still hurt from the slug I'd taken. That made me think of something, too. Now there were a couple of pieces ready to slide into place. All I had to do was ask Whitey a few questions. He was the only one who could help me find the killer. He was waiting for me. We went into his apartment together, trying not to look at the body.
Yeah, you said something about Julius Barton.
Yeah, he took a run-out powder after I questioned him, went to Melbourne.
You think he might have...
Well, he's a suspect, but I can't pin a motive on him. Not for 2 murders.
2?
I told Whitey about Celia.
You're right. We'd better phone the cops.
In a minute. After I sort things out again. Oh, by the way, here's your key.
Thanks.
I questioned Celia this afternoon. Then when I went back to see her again, I was slugged.
By the killer?
Must have been. He was standing in front of me. I didn't see much, just a blur. Then I felt the butt of a gun or something hit me on the side of the head, the right side.
Is it okay now? Here, let me have a look at it.
It's all right, Whitey.
Ah. Oh, nasty bump, though.
Yeah. Yeah, but to go on, I didn't give the slugging much thought till a while ago. Now, look, if I'm standing in front of you, for instance, and I slug you, I couldn't hit the right side of your head, could I? It'd have to be the left because I'm right-handed.
Yeah, I suppose it would be.
But you, Whitey, you're left-handed, aren't you?
Well,
You told me you boxed as a southpaw.
There are quite a few left-handers. Freddie was one, too.
But he's dead. Another thing, this key. You told me not to lose it because it's the only one you've got.
That's right.
Then how did Freddie get into his room? The lock on the door hasn't been tampered with. The windows were all latched from the inside.
So now you think I killed him?
Yeah. He wanted to go away with Barton, wanted you to sell your contract.
I never had a contract.
That clinches it. Celia talked him into leaving. He thought about it all night, made up his mind this morning, so he came to see you here.
I gave him everything. Taught him all I knew he knew.
So you killed him. Then you killed her.
Yeah. Now I'm gonna...
No, you don't. I had his left wrist as the gun went off. Then I was twisting. I spun around and let him go. Then I called the cops. A great day. 2 murders, a bashing, an attempted killing, all within 8 hours. You'd think I'd have had enough, wouldn't you?
Oh. Come in.
There's nothing like a little bit of overtime, is there? Good night.